down, we have the slithery friend. Oh, I don't like snakes. That is terrifying. Look how big it is. Oh, hell no. Oh no, hell to the no. No, no. I would never go outside ever again. Where is this? Where are they living? Thank God in Canada we don't have just like snakes roaming around to like climb on our doors. But imagine opening up the door and seeing that guy just like, hey, how's it going? That's my snake impression. But I think it would be vicious and like attack. No thank you, I really don't like snakes. They give me the heebie-jeebies. Moving on to number 9, we have the masked man. And if you guys are liking this video so far, then you know the drill. Hit that thumbs up button because it really helps us out. The creepy masked man that you just saw came to the same house 3 times in 1 week. The homeowners Richard and Sandra Gerber were away on vacation when they got an alert that someone was at their front door. This man would come, ring the doorbell, and then leave. Like I said, he did this on 3 different nights. On one night, he tried to break in. Now the owners alerted the police about this man, and so they actually staked out in their backyard. They were just waiting for the man to return. And they caught him. Turns out that the scary masked man is a man named Walter Denick, and he was arrested and found guilty of attempted burglary. In our 8th spot, we have the creepy doll. What is going on? What is going on? I don't like that. I don't like creepy dolls. I don't like a lot of things. I just realized. I'm like, I don't like snakes. I don't like creepy dolls. Wow, but that thing's terrifying, especially with the sound effects. Can you imagine looking and you're like, oh, who's there? Oh, is it a Girl Scout? And you look and it's this girl? That's creepy. No thank you. Call the cops. Sage your house. Get out of there. Coming in at number 7, we have the doorbell licker. On Saturday, January 5th, in the early hours of the morning, a doorbell cam caught a strange man licking someone's doorbell system for 3 hours. Why did he do this? Well, that's the question we all want to know. Doesn't he have better things to do? Guess not. The homeowners were confused as to who this man was and why he decided to target their house for a licking session. Well, they ended up giving the footage over to the police and they managed to catch the man. His name is Robert Arroyo, and apparently he has been accused of stealing extension cords from Christmas decorations. And so police recognized him instantly, and they too were weirded out by his behavior. In our 6th spot, we have the uninvited guest. Oh no. 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 Oh my God, it's so big. Ew, ew. Oh man, that is disgusting. That is so gross. Where is this? Is this Australia? Because I know they have huge spiders there. Again, I'm glad that we don't have big spiders where I live, because that's a big note from me. Did you see that thing? It was massive. That's disgusting. Imagine somebody, like the mailman, coming up to your door, about to ring the door, and seeing that. No, no. Oh. Whew. I feel like there's a spider on me now. Gross. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the clown. So a couple of years ago in Green Bay, Wisconsin, a number of residents were terrified after seeing this strange clown walking around in the middle of the night. The man you just saw in the video was named Gags the Green Bay Clown. He was first spotted at 2 a.m. on August 1st. Then over the nights, he would stalk a number of homes. If you're scared of clowns, then surely seeing this outside your house in the middle of the night would give you a heart attack. And at number 4, we have the eye. That was so creepy. All I heard is, hey, what do I do? There's a big creature. That's like literally all I heard, and that's all I need to hear because that's terrifying. That's absolutely terrifying. Who is this dude? Who is this house? Why doesn't he just call the cops? And why has he got a really creepy eyeball? And like I said, he's gonna pluck those eyebrows because, you know, they're not working. I hope that man's okay. Yeah. That's all I gotta say. Coming in at number 3, we have the ghost. Now, what's terrifying about this next clip is the fact that we can hear somebody at the door, but we can't see anyone. The Ring doorbell went off and started recording, so it clearly detected that something was there. But what is it? By sounds of the voice, it's probably a demon. I think it's time for that house to have an exorcism or something. If anyone can decode what that demon is talking about, then let me know. Maybe it's just cold and wants to come in and warm up. Moving on to number 2, we have the delivery. Hear the police sirens? Oh my god. It's like they're coming for him. What is that? What did he just drop off on their front porch? I don't know, but I wouldn't open that. Nuh-uh. I have no clue what that is, and I don't want to know what that is because it's probably something bad because this looks like an evil man and I don't like him. That's terrifying. And in our number 1 spot, we have the old woman. She's not okay. She is possessed or something. I have no clue what was in her hand. She's definitely possessed by something. I don't know what's wrong with her. Her face looks evil. Like, that's an evil Karen right there, and I don't like that. See, this is why I don't want to get one of these doorbells. Like, I feel like I should because it's like I can spy on people that come and, you know. But at the same time, it's like, do I really want to know who's standing outside my house? Not really. It's scary.
Coming in number 10, we have the mysterious shadow figure. Now, the start of this video just looks like a normal person walking out. Like, honestly, you'll see what I'm talking about when you see it. In fact, let's just jump right into the clip so I can show you. See how it looks like just a normal person walking out with a flashlight, just doing a stroll? I mean, it's in the middle of the night, so it would be a little weird to go for a midnight stroll, but then the person turns into nothingness, and then you see the shadowy figure walk past the front of the garbage can in a more shadowy state. What is that thing? It looks like it's a ghost of a dad looking for his lost screwdriver. The way he's walking so determined with the flashlight. Also, how does a shadow figure produce light like that? Coming in at number 9, we have Out for a Stroll. The next clip looks so much like a real person, but then when you get close, you can see that the figure seems to not have legs. It's these ones that are so close to real that make you question whether or not this is just a camera screwing up or actually something much more mysterious caught on camera. Like, what is that thing? It could have been just someone out and about, or it could have been a ghost rushing to get to the Monster Mash. Let me know in the comments what you guys think this mysterious thing was. Coming in number 8, we have the darkness. This was a very strange thing that was spotted in the United States. There was some sort of strange energy that was spotted moving through America. Well, I don't know if spotted is the right way to put this. It was more like it wasn't spotted, but it was noticed. Let me explain this a little better so everyone can understand exactly what I'm talking about. So there was a series series of blackouts that was seen on a ton of security cameras in a small American town. Basically, one after the other, security cameras would black out and stop recording for a short period of time. The strange thing about this is this didn't happen in one area all at once like some sort of power outage. It swept through an area almost like it was rolling past the cameras and causing them to shut down. Some people speculate that this could have been some sort of government testing, a new type of ship that was sent out with some sort of destabilizing tech that can make any sort of filming equipment stop working. That actually sounds kind of accurate because it would make sense to have some sort of tech like that for military use. Coming in at number 7, we have the floating orb. Apparently, when you spot an orb floating around on camera, that means that there's something spectral going on. No one knows exactly what kind of spectral activity it could be. It could be a ghost passing through. It could be a couple ghosts walking into each other, giving off a charge. Maybe it's a ghost trying to alert people because they want to communicate with them. Either way, it always comes off a little creepy, especially when you see something like this.
An orb-shaped object has been spotted by surveillance cameras. This video, which has garnered more than 500 views on YouTube, was taken last Tuesday.
This was taken at the National Spacewalk Museum in Florida. I guess it's a ghost that really likes space travel and people who walk on the moon. Maybe it's Lance Armstrong himself who came to see how his life's work is being represented in the Spacewalk Museum. I mean, don't pretend like you wouldn't do the same thing if you were a ghost. I would go through all my old pictures on Instagram to see if anyone wrote some nice RIP messages. Coming in at number 6, we have a bag face. A man was spotted on a doorbell security camera moving through a neighborhood. Now, when you read that sentence, it doesn't seem that strange that someone would be having a nice stroll through a town. But when you find out that this person was walking up to people's doorsteps, staring at the door for a few minutes, and then leaving some packages on the front door, and then walking away, well, then you start to realize that there was something very strange going on here. Inside this strange package was a note that had a bunch of names scribbled on it and some gibberish. They weren't names related to anyone in the home, so it doesn't seem like our mystery person actually knew the people in the homes he was visiting. Does that make it any less creepy? No, not at all. Well, at least he was caught on camera. We know what this dude looks like, right? Well, actually not. This guy was called Baghead for a reason. This dude had a canvas bag thrown over his head. He looked like Jason from the first couple Friday the 13th movies. Coming in at number 5, we have the Flash. A giant flash of bright light was spotted in Kansas on a security camera. It was so bright it seemed like it changed the night sky to daylight, but it was only for a second. Funny thing is, no one in the town reported seeing anything like this, but it comes through clear as day on the video. Do you think this was just a malfunction of the camera, or did a massive neuralizer go off and memory wipe the entire city? Coming in at number 4, we have strange lights. It seems like with all the cameras we have set up around the world, UFOs are starting to pop up more and more. I mean, they are so prevalent that the American military has now announced that UFOs are real. Does that mean aliens are real? Well, I guess we need to catch one to find out. But in the meantime, we have security cameras to catch what seems to be a UFO flying through the sky. They have been seen on security cameras tons of times, not in just America, but all over the world. I think it's safe to say that we are not alone in the universe. And if you had any questions about whether or not it was just the human race in the galaxy, well, I have our next point for you. Coming in at number 3, we have, is this an alien? So apparently this footage captures what's supposed to be an alien just out and about on his own. Now, the only problem with this is it seems super close up and you can't really get a good look at this strange alien creature that might be lurking in this person's backyard. So let's get a good look at this, and I'll let you at home decide whether or not you think that this is an alien that came down from space to say hello on camera. It does look a little suspicious to me, the way that the body is formed and how fast and fluid it moves. I mean, it could just be a bug really close to the lens. When you look at a bug from straight on, it looks like something that landed here on an asteroid and wants to drink your spinal fluid like a Slurpee. And coming into the number 2 spot, we have meteor or alien. Something very strange was caught on a home security camera in Alberta. Most people on the internet are saying that this is a meteor coming down to Earth and burning up in the atmosphere. Now, it could be that, or it could be something else. Now that could just as easily be an alien ship coming into our atmosphere to come down to Earth so it can steal some more humans for testing. I don't really know if aliens frequent Alberta, but I wouldn't be surprised if they like to go there. There's a lot of open farmland there where you can come in and abduct someone without anyone else knowing or seeing. Either way, this is some very interesting footage. And coming into the number 1 spot, we have haunting your baby. I couldn't think of anything more frightening than having something haunting your baby, because it's one thing if it's coming after you. You can deal with it, you can protect protect yourself, but it's already hard to take care of your kids and to make sure that they don't get hurt. How are you supposed to protect your kids from something supernatural? But check out this video and tell me if it doesn't make you want to jump out of your own skin.
It's an image Heather and Josh say is haunting their home.
It was chilling. It was literally a chill.
What the hell on earth is that? You can see the shadow walking around in the background, just creeping around the baby's crib. How do you stop that? Do you put garlic around the crib to make sure that it can't come any closer? Also, how much of a boss is that baby? He wasn't scared at all. He just pops his head up and he's like, hey, what's going on in here? He was staring down the ghost like, hey dude, you got any snacks? I don't know who you are, but if you got snacks, we can be friends.
Number 10. 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz is an American rapper. He's best known for his songs We Own It, Mercy, and Watch Out. Now, usually people aren't out there robbing people out in the open, especially celebrities. It's usually one of their various houses that get broken into, but this was not the case for 2 Chainz. A building surveillance camera caught 2 Chainz and his entourage robbed and threatened with weapons just hours before he was set to perform in San Francisco. At first, he denied the claims that he was robbed, but then the videos were released and his personal bodyguards spoke out about their harrowing ordeal. He said, they pointed their weapons at us and we were like, whoa, we thought it was a joke for a minute. We looked at them, we stopped, kind of paused, we thought it was a joke. Then all we heard was 2 Chainz, give it up. So we stood there and didn't do anything, and we kind of froze because we wanted to see if this was real. All of a sudden, the next thing you know, 2 Chainz kind of backed up a little bit, and then he said, give it up, and then all of a sudden he took off running first. 3 men reportedly approached 2 Chainz and his entourage and chased them down the street. One of them fired at the group, but no one was struck. 2 Chainz came clean about the incident and said, I was like, this is real, I had bullet fragments in my hair, I think he thought he shot me. Now this definitely sounds like a targeted attack and it's crazy. Number 9. Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is an American boxing promoter and former professional boxer. As a professional boxer, he competed between 1996 and 2017, retiring with an undefeated record and winning 15 major world championships from super featherweight to light middleweight. While being one of the most talented boxers in his field, he's also known for being overly flashy and showing off the extent of his finances. In August 2008, his Las Vegas home was robbed of $7 million in jewels. A security camera caught the footage of 4 burglars smashing into the home, and it's truly shocking that they didn't take more. Mayweather had been featured on HBO numerous times and showed that he keeps $1 million in his bedroom and has tens of thousands in cash on him at all times. Why does he do this? No one knows, and flexing that to the public isn't the best idea, but I guess he learned the hard way. According to a spokesman for Las Vegas Metro Police Department, Mayweather's home was empty when the intruder broke in. After this, a representative of the Floyd Mayweather Jr. Foundation announced a $100,000 reward for information, leading to the recovery of the items, but if I were Mayweather, I'd just stop showing off so much. Number 8. Michael Bublé. Michael Bublé is a Canadian singer who is a 4-time Grammy Award winner. He's best known for his songs It's a Beautiful Day, Sway, and his renditions of Christmas classics. In 2011, when Michael and his now wife Luciana Lopitito were getting married in Argentina, their Buenos Aires home was robbed. The robbers managed to disarm the home security system and even covered the lenses of the home surveillance cameras. This is definitely not something that a couple wants to return to after the happiest day of their lives, but at least they weren't home and no one was hurt. While learning about the break-in, Louisiana told reporters, I will not let this ruin the happiest day of my life. Number 7. Khloe Kardashian. Khloe Kardashian is a media personality and socialite. She has starred with her family in the reality television series Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Now, Khloe was married to Lamar Odom for a while and they had their issues. The home they lived in together was ultimately put up for sale and left empty while awaiting the new occupant, Kaylee Cuoco. Now, the moment when Khloe realized that she had been robbed was caught on film for the reality TV show, since it became evident that someone had tampered with her safe. Ironically, the only item stolen belonged to Lamar, and it led many to believe that it was an inside job. Reportedly, $250,000 worth of jewelry was stolen from the home. Number 6. Arsenio Hall. Arsenio Arsenio Hall is a comedian, actor, and talk show host. He has hosted the late-night talk show, The Arsenio Hall Show, from 1989 until 1994, and again from 2013 to 2014. He has also appeared in Marital Law, Coming to America, and Harlem Nights. Now, he was the target of not one, but 2 break-ins in 2022. And to make things even worse, he was home when the criminals tried to get in. On September 20th, it was reported that days earlier, according to LAPD sources, that he went downstairs to investigate after hearing a loud noise and found that someone had broken the glass on a sliding door in an attempt to gain entry, but quickly left. A month earlier, 2 people broke a window, then entered the home, but got spooked and left when they realized he was there. According to TMZ, cops are looking at surveillance video from his house and his neighborhood to try to ID the suspects and figure out if he was being targeted. Being robbed is terrifying, but being home when it happens is a whole other thing. Number 5. A$AP Rocky. A$AP Rocky is a rapper, record producer, and record executive. He's best known for his songs Praise the Lord, Sundress, and Every Day. Now, according to multiple media accounts, in May 2017, 3 male suspects entered the artist's residence in LA. They knocked on the door, and when a woman, supposedly his sister, answered, they allegedly forced their way into the house. Officials reportedly told the media outlet that the men grabbed the woman and took her around the house, where they collected $1.5 million in jewelry and other valuables. They tried to get her to open the safe, but after she wasn't able to, they left with it. They later abandoned it on a nearby sidewalk when they couldn't get it into their getaway car, which just sounds funny to me. A$AP Rocky wasn't home during the time of the attack, but reports suggest that the robbery was not a random hit, but instead a targeted attack. The woman who was home at the time wasn't hurt or injured anyway, which is good. Number 4. Number 4. Jen Atkin. Jen Atkin is a hairstylist, entrepreneur, and columnist. She was robbed and she was able to watch the whole thing on camera. She posted, "So whoever's in my closet right now stealing all my jewelry, we have you on camera and police are on their way," alongside a surveillance video of the 2 thieves rifling through her bedroom closet. The hairstylist, who was working a photo shoot at a nearby beach, continued, "Update, police are on it and I can't say too much, but get cameras in your house guys, they're so helpful." Later that day, she put out a post saying, "Was staring at this gorgeous view today while our house was being robbed. It felt super violating, but we know in our hearts that there are good people out in this sometimes dark world. Yes, we'll have to adjust to how we live a bit, but I'm grateful for all the good people in our life. Just thinking of it as a good deed, and hopefully the material things we loved will help whoever needed to steal it. Oh, and get Nest, it's worth every penny." Apparently they have robbed a couple houses on our very street today. It's the same guys. Everybody's putting all the clues together, so guess what, buddies? It's so crazy that people do this with cameras. It's so not smart. Now, I completely agree with her. It's good that it was all recorded though, and no one was home at the time. Number 3. Dorit Kemsley. Dorit Kemsley is an American fashion designer and television personality. She is best known as a main cast member on the reality TV show The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, around 11 p.m. on October 27th, 2021, 3 men broke into her house and confronted her in her bedroom. She allegedly woke up to 2 men standing at the end of her bed. In a statement, the department claimed both suspects threatened to end her life as she pleaded for her life and the lives of her children who were in the house at the time sleeping. She reportedly told the robbers, "Don't hurt my babies, don't kill me, I'm a mom." Police explained that she instructed the intruders where to find her most valuable items, including high-end handbags, jewelry, and watches, in hopes of keeping her family safe. In fear for her safety, the victim complied with the suspect's demand and directed them to the valuables, the report said. She feels fortunate her young children were both unarmed and unaware of the fright. Writing on Instagram, she said, "My family now needs to start the healing process. I have thrown myself into work. I want our family to return to normality as soon as possible. With the love and support of my husband, my incredible family, friends, fans, and followers, I am confident this is the right thing to do whilst I independently work through the trauma. An investigation is still ongoing to determine whether or not this was a targeted attack, though she seems to think the robbery may have had to do something with her social media posts." Number 2. Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga is a singer, songwriter, and actress. She's best known for her songs Born This Way, Just Dance, and Applause, as well as her acting performance performances in A Star is Born, American Horror Story, and House of Gucci. In February 2021, Ryan Fisher was walking the pop star's 3 French bulldogs in Hollywood when 2 men jumped out of a white Nissan Altima and confronted Ryan, demanding that he give up the dogs. A struggle ensued and Ryan was shot once. The suspects were able to flee with 2 of the dogs, Koji and Gustav. The 3rd dog was safely recovered at the scene. Lady Gaga posted, "My heart is sick and I am praying my family will whole again with an act of kindness. I will pay $500,000 for their safe return. I continue to love you, Ryan Fisher. You risked your life for our family. You're forever a hero," she wrote. In April 2021, 5 people were arrested in connection to the robbery, including Jennifer McBride, who eventually turned in the dogs. After Jennifer turned in the dogs, Los Angeles police discovered that she had a relationship with the father of one of the men arrested for the robbery. She was arrested as an accessory, and in December 2022, she pleaded no contest to 1 count of receiving stolen property. She was sentenced to 2 years of probation, but today Jennifer is suing Lady Gaga, alleging she did not receive the reward. The lawsuit states that Gaga defrauded Jennifer by making a promise without intent to perform. The lawsuit goes on to claim that Jennifer has suffered damages, pain and suffering, mental anguish, and loss of enjoyment of life as a result of not receiving the $500,000. But she helped steal the dogs, so I don't think she has the right to the award or to literally sue Lady Gaga. And coming in at number 1 is Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian is a socialite, media personality, and businesswoman. She first gained media attention as a friend and stylist of Paris Hilton, and is known for starring alongside her family on their reality TV series Keeping Up with the Kardashians. In October 2016, Kim was threatened with weapons and robbed of $10 million worth of jewelry. This included 2 diamond Cartier bracelets, a diamond in a gold Jacob necklace, a gold Rolex watch, diamond Lorraine Schwartz earrings, and her $4 million engagement ring from then-husband Kanye West at the No Name Hotel in Paris during Fashion Week. That evening, Kim, who decided to stay in, was alone in her room while her family's bodyguard left to watch over her sisters, Kourtney Kardashian and Kendall Jenner, when they went out. Burglars tied her hands and feet and put tape over her mouth and legs. She was able to escape after the robbers and she got help. She was obviously shaken up by the whole ordeal, and since then, Kim has been more careful not to flex her money as much. She said, "As far as jewelry, if I'm wearing something, it's borrowed, it's fake, no expensive items ever come into my home. I have it all taken from security before I even enter my home. I can't sleep if I have jewelry in my safe or money or anything at my house. I just don't live my life like that." It's good that she's taken these precautions, but I cannot imagine the trauma she has experienced.
Off at number 10, we have a masked monkey wrench wielder. That's a tongue twister, you try it. Anyways, Mary Simonton, the YouTube user who posted the video, says she found out later that this was just a trick-or-treater, but before that she was initially really scared because she didn't know the context. And me too, like just have a look for yourself. This trick-or-treater rolls up at 7:06 p.m. on Halloween looking like, as Mary says, something out of The Purge. They are wearing a gray hoodie with a Purge-style mask and wielding a red monkey wrench. Like, while I'm sad this person didn't get the candy they were looking for, as we all should on Halloween, I don't blame Mary for steering clear. If you're at home alone and that shows up at your door, it's just better safe than sorry. Like, seriously, I legit went out trick-or-treating as a serial killer when I was 11 and I was less intimidating. That being said, I was dressed like a spoon while holding a butter knife to a mini box of corn pops, so obviously I wasn't that scary and it wasn't a cool costume, I have to admit, but I'll be better this year, I swear. Anyways, enough about me, let's move on to number 9. This one we have a masked figure covering the camera. This video was uploaded to YouTube by user Jeff Davis, who said he was notified by his Ring doorbell that someone was at the door. This was shortly after him and his partner put their kids to bed. As you can see in the video, a masked figure comes up to the door and immediately covers the doorbell with what I believe is a sticker. After 4 seconds, the adhesive on one side wears off and suddenly peels away. But when this happens, the person is nowhere to be seen. Like, where did they go? Davis asked in the description whether viewers think it was kids up to no good or something more sinister, but what do you think? When I looked into this user, it didn't seem like he was hunting for views, so I think it's legit. It's creepy thinking that people out there are doing things like this for pranks when it's more than a little unsettling, right? That happened to me. I don't know. But anyways, on to number 8. We have what appears to be a clown with a machete. So another creepy one, alright. So we know that every once in a while there is a creepy clown phase that happens, and one result of these phases are clowns ringing doorbells. This time it's a clown appearing at a house in Toledo, Ohio. In this video we see a person wearing dirty white coveralls with yellow rubber gloves and a clown mask, and they're holding a machete. This person saunters up and hovers around the door before ringing the doorbell about 30 seconds into the video. At this point, we get a good look at the creepy mask this person is wearing. This is where I know I'd be freaking out. If I saw this, I'd freaking scream, and I'm not even afraid of clowns. Don't try and tell me that you wouldn't be just at least a little bit scared if this shows up on your doorstep in the middle of the night. Jeez. But next, something good happens, I think. It appears the clown figure realizes the doorbell has a camera and walks off, or he realizes the doorbell has a camera and decides to try another entrance, but who knows? One thing is, with number 7, we know the outcome of the scary situation that was caught on camera. This video takes place in Dallas when the homeowner was at work. 2 men come up to her door and one knocks, but they leave quickly when they see the camera in the doorbell.
Oh, there's a camera right there.
Already, this seems suspicious. The house's owner, Kay, feels like something's not sitting right too, so she stays on the line with the Ring doorbell cam. It's a good thing she does, because within minutes the two are back and attempting to kick down her door.
Hello? Cops are on their way.
The homeowner, Kay, scares them off just by saying hello. Then, as they run, she warns them that the police are on their way. A little epilogue for you: the 2 men aren't caught right away, but within a couple of weeks, with the help of Ring, the doorbell provider spreading the footage, the 2 men are arrested. Which, good thing, because I wouldn't want anyone trying to like kick down my door, because I don't know, what if the hinges are rusty? I'm afraid. Ooh. But not everyone gets as smooth an experience with Ring, the doorbell camera thing, as Kay did, the last homeowner. At number 6, we have the creepy case where the voice answering the doorbell wasn't the voice of the owner of the house. This video was uploaded by YouTube user Brian Goley back in October of 2017. When he got a Ring doorbell from Home Depot, it appeared to have been one that was returned before, you know, slightly opened in the case. And even after having the account apparently wiped, he was hearing another man's voice answering his doorbell for him.
Yo.
Who is this? Why is someone?
Imagine forgetting your keys and ringing the doorbell to your own house only for someone else to say a little hello? Spooky, right?
Why are you answering my doorbell?
Somehow it's getting disconnected to my doorbell.
With his wife and him thoroughly creeped out that someone else was receiving and answering their alerts, they talked to Ring support again. And they found out that the MAC ID on the box and the MAC ID on the device didn't even match. So watch out with the gadgets you're getting. Eventually, Ring sent Goley a brand new unit, so it was fixed. Talking about getting something new, let's move on to number 5, another creepy dressed up character. YouTube user Katrina Vega was waiting for a UPS package that was scheduled to come at 8 p.m. at night. She gets a Ring notification that someone is at her door, which she ignores, as many of us do, because we all ignore our doors if the doorbell rings. Let's be real. Because we all know that male people run away once they drop off a package, right? That's the meme. Anyways, she also may have ignored it because she thought nothing was up. The thing is, her package wasn't there when she checked for it. So she checked her doorbell footage, and lo and behold, this creepy person in a costume was lingering at her door with a weird lollipop for a whole minute. What if she opened the door? What then? You know, what then? See, this is why I always wait for one of my roomies to answer the door, because I can't deal with this. Do you realize how short I am? My legs are— I can't run from these people. No. But anyways, what's another thing other than creepy late night encounters that you hope not to see when checking your doorbell camera? Fire. At number 4, we have a fire across the street. About 3 years ago in Clovis, California, Catherine Gahn woke up from a Ring notification. Although there was no one at her door, the motion sensor was triggered at 4 in the morning. The bell triggered because a fire was raging across the street. So across the street, all of her neighbors were sound asleep, none the wiser, and things could have taken a turn for the worse. Thank goodness Gahn raced across the street and woke up her neighbors. So their lives were saved. Next up, at number 3, we have a woman scaring the residents of this home at 2 a.m.
Mom. 30.
This woman shakes her hair at the doorbell camera and is peering into it, kind of like this, and it's not the most comforting or typical greeting at a door for sure. YouTube user Chelsea Brewer uploaded this video earlier this year, asking viewers to help her figure out what the lady is saying. Can you figure it out?
Say help me, please. Okay.
I hear her begin to whisper sayings like, "Do you want to see?" and the word "mom" in kind of a haunting voice. And she walks off after, but if that happened to me, I know I wouldn't be answering the door. And honestly, I wouldn't be answering the next one either. At number 2, we have footage of a creepy kid in what appears to be a scary baby doll mask. In a video uploaded by Donnie and Leanne on YouTube, the kid, which they believe is a girl, is scary. So the kid rings the bell, backs up a step or two, and then starts to sing ominously before charging at the camera and screaming. I had to watch that clip more than once, and I wish I didn't have to. I can't handle jump scares. So like next, we're just gonna move on to the next one. Watch the video again for yourself if you really want to put yourself through that. Okay. Anyways, last on our list at number 1 is an actual alleged kidnapping. In September, in Arcadia, California, a Ring doorbell camera caught footage of a neighbor abusing his estranged girlfriend. In the video, the woman runs up to the door, clearly scared, and knocks frantically. Then you can see the man ran up, grabbed her by the hair, and dragged her off the porch and onto the lawn. During this, she called out for help and screamed no. The footage is appalling, but the good news is that the man was arrested thanks to the doorbell camera.
And we're kicking off this list with the ghost patient. In this security camera footage from a hospital in Argentina, we see a security guard sitting at his desk. It's late and there's nobody else in the foyer aside from the guard. At least that's the way it looks to us. We watch as the automatic doors open, as if someone is entering into the hospital. Only there's nobody actually there. Or is there? The security guard seems to think there is, because he gets up from his desk and walks over to check this invisible person in. We watch him talk to what looks like thin air before allowing whoever or whatever it is inside. The guard later said that he had seen a woman walk into the hospital. She said she'd left something in the room she'd been staying in. The staff were of course pretty creeped out by the footage, especially when it was discovered that the name he'd taken down when letting the invisible entity into the hospital was the same name as a woman who had died just the previous day. Coming in at number 9, we have Miss Abigail. In this footage taken in a building in Houston, Texas, we see a security guard once again having a conversation with what looks like thin air. His coworker watching the cameras is filming her screen, completely confused by what she's seeing. Then she radios in to the guard asking who he's talking to. He responds by saying he's speaking with Miss Abigail, who's looking for Mr. Griffin. The coworker becomes even more confused now, saying, "You sure you're saying Miss Abigail? She died 2 years ago." She then goes on to say that there's nobody in the hallway with him. Suddenly it sinks in for the guard and he turns around and starts running down the hallway. Fair enough, that would probably be my reaction as well. Even if this is just a hoax, it's such a creepy idea. Imagine having what you think is just some innocuous conversation with somebody, only to be told, hey bud, nobody there with you. I also have this haunting image in my mind of how this supposed ghost looked once the guard was told he wasn't talking to anyone. Did Miss Abigail disappear? Or even creepier, and what I'm kind of picturing is that she just stood there completely still, staring blankly at him until he ran away. Next on the list we have the poltergeist. In the security footage captured in a 200-year-old school in Cork Island called Deer Park CBS, we see a series of paranormal phenomena take place. First, a door at the end of the hallway seemingly opens on its own before violently slamming shut. Then a filing cabinet or locker starts rocking back and forth out of nowhere. One of the lockers opens up and papers start flying out on their own. A wet floor sign suddenly flips out. I don't know, it spins around and collapses. Whatever was causing this to happen was not in a good mood that night. Number 7, the hospital ghost. This is a story that was posted to Reddit by user Dr. Basio. Goes as follows. I work as a doctor in a hospital in the UK and was on a night shift that was particularly quiet. Some of the nurses were sitting around telling this story. A young doctor was running to a crash call. Our hospital is a giant L shape with the front entrance being at the bend. A woman stopped him and asked him which way the exit was. He directed her and kept running. When he got to the patient, it was the woman who had asked him for directions. She had died. Apparently it got caught on the CCTV that the doctor stopped running midway down the hallway and gestured toward the exit while saying something to no one in particular. So supposedly, the confused spirit of this patient who had just died spoke to the doctor who was racing over to save her life. Pretty spooky stuff. And hey, if there's any place where paranormal stuff like this is gonna take place, it's gotta be a hospital. At number 6, we have one that's pretty similar to the Miss Abigail video. This footage was originally uploaded to TikTok by the security guard in the video, Luis de Alvarez, who took it down soon after, utterly traumatized by the entire event. He was working as a night guard and was alone patrolling a floor he was on when he spotted an old lady. We watch as he walks over to who he believes is a person, although we can't see anyone but him in the footage. He begins talking to what he later described as an old lady who was saying she was lost. But another guard tells him over his walkie-talkie that there's nobody there. He's the only one on the floor. The guard was waiting for the elevator, but decided to just leg it out of there as fast as he could. We cut to another angle, and he's like running through the parking lot, and then just out of the building completely. Ran halfway across the city, I'm sure. Number 5, night shift. Oh boy, working alone at night in a big empty building. Just the thought of that sends shivers down my spine. In this story posted to Reddit by True Denter, they described their encounter with a man who seemingly disappeared into thin air. I used to work at a place which was required to be manned 24 hours a day. Anyways, security is kinda tight. Bars on windows, multiple locked doors to get to where I am. They would give me work to do during the night, but underestimated how quickly I could get it done. So now it's getting to be the last third of my shift when all of a sudden I hear a door close. I look at the security camera and see someone walking down a hall towards my room. First I thought it was just somebody that came in ridiculously early, so I turn around and wait for them to come in, but nobody came in, and the hairs start rising on my back. Now this isn't a really big building, so I figure I'll find the guy wherever he is. I start checking offices and storage rooms, but come up empty-handed. However, I do see that a fire door had shut. I go to try and rewind the camera, but the digital recording is password protected and I don't know the password. Anyways, the whole thing freaked me out. The way the person was walking down the hallway, like a determined walk right to where I was. So I sit with my spine tingling for the last couple hours of my shift, and finally people start coming in. My replacement shows up and I tell her what I saw, and at this point I figure I must have imagined the whole thing. I'm told to go home and the manager and the girl who replaced me would look over the camera. After getting home, I call my manager and ask what was on the camera. So they said that the video showed the fire door closing, but then the video froze for about an hour. The next thing it records is me reopening the door. Next up we have Son's Ghost. In 2019, a woman named Jennifer Hodge received an alert on her phone from her Nest Cam, which detects movement and sound, reading, "Take a look. Your entryway camera spotted a person." She'd been watching TV with her daughter and was about to fall asleep when she got this notification. They looked at the image and it showed what looked to be a ghostly figure standing in their kitchen. Her daughter immediately said, "Mom, look, it looks like Robbie." Robbie was her brother and Jennifer's son, who had passed away 2 years earlier. But they both agreed that the figure in the photo captured by the camera did look exactly like Robbie. They immediately ran to the kitchen, but there was nobody there, and no signs of forced entry either. Hodge described feeling comforted by the situation though, saying, "I felt like he was letting me know he's happy in heaven." Number 3, the bike. This is another story posted to Reddit by user TJS252, who wrote the following. I used to have an apartment pretty close to my office. The office building was kind of on its own relative to the city's commercial district. I sold the apartment, and before moving into my new home, I left my bicycle chained to the building's bike rack. It was only to be there for a few days and at no man's land before I was able to move it into my new place. Anyway, one day in the middle of the week, I come into the office, walk past the bike rack, and notice it's completely empty. The building has a bunch of security cameras and one more or less less is facing the bite rack. I sit and watch the security tape with the IT guy. We're watching, see everyone leave the office the night before, see the bike, keep watching, then all of a sudden, poof, bike gone. We slowed the tape down, and it seemed like when you're watching a digital cable or satellite and the image gets garbled. Literally, it was bike there, then poof, gone. And the tape's timestamp, it literally happened in 1 second. I assume my bike got taken down to the upside down. Coming at number 2, we have the ghost attack. Here we see a security camera footage that looks to be coming from an office or apartment building. We see this guy walking down the hallway when all of a sudden something sends him flying back to the floor. You can see a very obvious dark shadowy shape appear, which then begins dragging the dude down the hallway by the leg. Luckily it doesn't drag him very far before disappearing though, and the man, now free from the mysterious entity's grasp, stumbles to his feet and starts booking it back the way he came. Whatever friend he was seeing, appointment he had booked, whatever it wasn't happening that day. Being violently dragged down a hallway by a shadowy entity kinda has a way of disrupting your plans for the day, I reckon. Now, as to whether this video is real or not, let me know what you think. I think it's a well done video, but yeah, I'm just not sold on the whole ghost thing yet. I wanna be though. And finally, we have the nursing home specter. A security guard named Jay Brown was working the night shift at a nursing home in Chicago when he spotted some sort of ghostly figure floating past the front desk. In this video, he's watching back at the security camera footage as he films, talking about what he saw. If you look closely at the footage, you actually see some sort of misty shape floating around in the corner. You watch as Brown stands up, confused and terrified as to what he's witnessing. At one point, he even throws a book at the ghostly mass, but then he decides to just take a deep breath, calm down, and get on with his shift. You know, stuff happens at work. Rude patients, long hours, sometimes there's a ghost in the corner, you gotta whip a book at and then just get on with your day. Brown stated that whatever the strange entity is, it seems to show up every few months.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have Dad Watch. This story comes from the Reddit user Pale Moon Pixie, and they said, quote, "My brother and I were constantly monitored this way by our dad. We didn't find the recording device. He actually sat us down and played the recording for us, where we talked about secretly visiting our mother, who we were forbidden from seeing for no other reason than her leaving. He also had a software program on our family computer that would log our chats. That's how he found her address and also found out that I had smoked for the first time. Oy. The only thing that really came out of these situations were him sitting us down to out us and our shared phobia of cameras and hidden audio. Listen, I think there's a certain extent where looking into the lives of your children is acceptable and safe, but this definitely feels like it crosses multiple lines in terms of privacy and all of that. But to be completely fair, I don't have kids, so I can't really say much. All I can say is that I'm glad these kids knew about the surveillance going on. In our number 9 spot today, we have this illegal viewing. This story comes from the Reddit user tgroat555 and isn't exactly about a camera recording, but I came across this story and it was so creepy and weird I had to share it with my internet besties. They explained that their landlord had drilled a hole in the ceiling of their bathroom as well as 3 others on their floor from the top floor. He then used these holes to spy through, and it was only found out one day when a woman was in the shower and looked up, and that was when she noticed the landlord looking through. I literally get goosebumps just thinking about it. I can't even imagine having to actually live that. Here's where this already awful story gets even worse though. The Redditor went on to write, quote, "He went to jail, but I wasn't able to do anything because there apparently were no laws on the books in Iowa to prosecute peeping Tom cases when the victim and the perpetrator are the same sex." We won't even get into all the levels on which that law or lack thereof is wrong and unusual, but we will just hope it has since been changed because that is actually insane. In our number 8 spot today, we have the au pair. This story comes from a Redditor called Shecole3, and it's one that I am honestly kind of torn on. They wrote, quote, "I was an au pair and the family was normal and weren't strict with me or anything. But one weekend when they were out of town with the kids, I was home alone and on the couch eating a snack. My show ended and it was silent and I heard a noise and looked up and saw a camera turning towards me. It must have been motion activated or just did a turn every once in a while. It wasn't hidden, I just never noticed it, so I found it really unsettling because I didn't realize I had been being recorded. The fact that it turned towards me made me wonder if they could control it or see something on their phones and turned it to see what I was doing. I ended up unplugging it when they went out of town because it creeped me out and they never mentioned it. So here's where I'm torn. I think it's perfectly reasonable for these people to have had a camera in the living room of their own home. I think the living room is a pretty normal, safe spot for it, and again, it's their own home that they also live in. But in that same breath, I also understand and sympathize with the unsettling, eerie feeling of finding out that you were being watched when you didn't know. So I don't necessarily think anyone did anything wrong in this scenario, but I know you guys always have a lot of opinions about everything, so drop a comment down below and let me know what you think of this one. In our number 7 spot today, we have The Experiment. This story is a bit of a cautionary tale and serves as a reminder for us all to be aware of our surroundings. The Reddit user Tuentha463 God, wrote, quote, "A few years ago we had a Halloween party and rigged an old busted camcorder to the top of my shower curtain aimed at the toilet. The bathroom was small and it was obvious and in plain sight. No batteries, no power, no media. Not one person mentioned it. At the end of the party I was like, WTF guys, nobody's gonna mention the camcorder over the toilet? Nobody had even seen it, somehow. I guess maybe the partygoers chalked this up to some spooky, weird Halloween decoration, or maybe they flat out just didn't notice it at all. Kind of a weird social experiment to pull, but nonetheless a good reminder for us all to keep our head on a swivel and just to generally be aware." In our number 6 spot today, we have Creepy Bob. I've said it before and I'll truly never stop saying it. Trust your instincts. If someone gives you a weird or uncomfortable feeling, there's probably some reason why, and this story is a perfect example of that. The Reddit user Stealthy Bomber wrote, quote, "One morning after swim practice my freshman year, my friends and I saw a blinking red light in a locker with a towel draped down the door. Turns out it was the janitor we called Creepy Bob recording us in the showers. That's disgusting and very creepy. I wish I had a follow-up on what happened next. I hope that they were able to report this incident to the proper people and get some sort of action taking, because there is absolutely nothing about that is okay." In our number 5 spot today, we have The Undercover Boss. This is a story posted by the user Local Creep, which, weird choice on a name, but anyway. The story starts off when they were working at a local little, grill / ice cream place over the summertime, and they had a boss that was less than ideal, we'll say. We've all had a lame or rude or lazy boss at some point, and we all know how frustrating that can be. They go on to explain that they got a soft serve machine at this place, but the machine wasn't really that great, and it would sometimes make some weird noises when it was being used too often. The employees knew that the boss had cameras set up in the business, which is pretty regular, and that he was one of those bosses who would sit at home and watch the camera feeds all day, but what they didn't know is that he was also recording audio. They only found out when he called into the store to ask why no one had told him that the ice cream machine was making a weird sound. The employees, of course, were pretty spooked because they obviously talked mad smack about this guy when he wasn't around, and of course now they knew that he had heard every single word. They ended off the story by saying, quote, "This might not seem all that bad, but this is illegal where I live. I actually went through all the application paperwork to make sure it wasn't in the packet, and it wasn't. We couldn't do anything about it because we didn't have proof, but if someone were to get fired for something the mic picked up, they could take the owner to court. I'm reporting him for some other things, so it wasn't the main concern, but still very much illegal. I want to know what the other things are." In our number 4 spot today, we have The Kid Cam. This story comes from the Reddit user Matthew WWRMT and is about a story from their childhood. They wrote, quote, "I come from a large family, 5 boys and 5 girls. As you can imagine, things get loud and ruckus pretty easily. One night, my sister and I saw my dad discreetly putting a recording machine on top of the fridge. When dinner started, we started being the most obviously polite kids. 'Sister dear, would you mind being kind enough to pass the potatoes?' 'Of course, brother dear. May I refresh your water for you as well?' It only took a couple of minutes before my dad stomped over to the fridge and took down the recorder. I was hoping to show you all how badly you behave. Well, so much for that. Shape up and start acting like civilized people." My sister and I still laugh about that. I just love hearing stories about how clever and cheeky children can be. Unfortunately for this dad, children are always lurking around corners when you least expect it. Also, for a moment, can we imagine having 10 kids? The idea of one fills my body with stress. I can't imagine having 10 little rugrats running around. Honestly, those parents are braver than I am, that's for sure. In our number 3 spot today, we have the thief cam. This story is a reminder that sometimes those closest to us are the ones we need to keep an eye on the most. The Reddit user Lysan24 wrote, quote, "We lived next door to my dad's parents. They had a key for our house because his dad would often come and let our dogs out. Well, we started noticing weird things go missing, like a box of cereal, $5, just small things like that. So my dad set up a hidden camera in our kitchen to see if it was his dad, and sure enough it was. One day he came into the house, stuffed his pockets full of dog treats, and left. We eventually changed the locks and didn't give him a key, LMAO. Could you imagine? That's why you gotta get one of those Ring doorbell things. See who's coming and going, getting timestamps of everyone's visit. I would be interrogating everyone I knew in a dark room lit with only a lamp for some reason. I noticed you entered the residence at 1:25 and left at 1:27, and it looked like your right side was a little heavier than when you entered. Got any milk bones in there, Buster? I have my dog here to do a little sniffing around. He's exceptionally good at finding stolen treats." In our number 2 spot today, we have the hotel cam. This hidden camera story gave quite the frightening shock to those who found it, and luckily they were able to get down to the bottom of this mystery. Reddit user ZKAAAYK2 posted a story about how they and their boyfriend once stayed in a hotel while on vacation in another state. They were getting all settled down for the night, and that is when they realized that there was some sort of cord coming out from behind the TV, like an antenna almost. They investigated a little further and realized it wasn't attached to the TV at all, and instead was being threaded through a hole into the dresser below. This dresser drawer was also jammed shut. That's a big red flag. They ended up forcing it open and found inside a tiny camera that was pointing out of another tiny hole in the front of the dresser. They covered it up and of course brought it to the attention of the hotel manager. They then called the police, who were able to inform them of what had happened. Turns out the police had actually used that very same room just prior to this couple checking in, and they were using it for a sting operation, which is why they had placed the camera in there. The antenna part would have been connected to some sort of memory storage thing and then to a power bank. Luckily, this alarming find didn't have quite the same sinister ending as some others on this list. In our number 1 spot today, we have Alexa's Always Listening. Many of us have little virtual assistants placed throughout our homes in the ever-increasing technological world we live in, and we do get used to these little things listening in on our lives, and unfortunately, sometimes people will take advantage of this. This story starts off in the midst of the storyteller's mom going through a divorce, which we all know can be a messy, messy situation. The ex-husband in this situation had apparently planted an insane amount of hidden cameras throughout the house that they had to search for to find. Entrances and exits, the living room, the dining room, the hallways, the bedroom, everywhere in the house was being monitored. They then found out that he had bugged her laptop so as to be able to have remote access to it. This is when she took her car for an oil change and the mechanic found a tracking device that had been placed on it. This was all found during the separation era, but once the divorce process actually started, things got even creepier. They write, quote, "Once the divorce started and he officially moved out, we scanned the entire house for bugs and didn't find anything. So we were really freaked out when he started calling, texting, emailing her, complimenting her outfits, asking how her friends were as they were in the house, asking how her trip to the store was, and other really odd things that he couldn't have known about. As it turns out, this guy somehow connected his phone to the Alexa dot beforehand, and he was now using it to record whoever was close enough to the Alexa to be picked up on the mic, and at this point he was still able to access the laptop and its camera. In a turn for the worst, unfortunately, because at the time the car and house were in his name, not much could really be done about it, and in the end he didn't face any kind of legal backlash at all.
Number 10, Springfield clowns. Y'all remember how in 2016 there were clowns literally everywhere? They were just plaguing everywhere in the United States, and while some seemed like pranks, it seems like others used a clown costume to commit crimes. Regardless, it was scary and a time I'll never forget. Now, for those of you who don't know, the sightings began earlier than this, with many reported in the US in 2014. One state hit especially hard was Florida, in particular the Springfield neighborhood in Jacksonville. Compilations of clowns captured on home security cameras reached the internet, with news outlets picking them up. The footage was everywhere. Then by mid-October 2016, clown sightings and attacks have been reported in nearly all US states, 9 out of 13 provinces and territories in Canada, and in 18 other countries. It's just scary and unnerving, and I can't imagine sitting at home and looking out the window at night and seeing a clown staring back at me. I honestly think I would cry. Number 9. Nanny cam. Ellen and Nathan Ridgely suddenly woke up to the sound of sexual language coming from their young son's room. Ellen said that her immediate reaction was that there was somebody in there, somebody's in my son's room. When the couple jumped out of bed and turned the light on, the monitor camera in their room, which was previously turned off, was activated. Someone hacked into it, and the hacker, speaking through the camera, told the couple to turn the light off. When they didn't comply, he said, "I'm going to your son, I'm in your son's room." The father ran upstairs to his son's room but found him safe and sound. That's when they realized that their cameras had been hacked and the hacker was bluffing. Now they immediately turned off their Wi-Fi and called the police to report the incident. The family threw out their monitors and now use cameras that don't use Wi-Fi. Nest, the monitor manufacturer, was also notified about the attack, and they told NBC News that such attacks could happen if customers used passwords which were previously leaked due to a data breach. They did not, however, confirm that this had been the cause of this specific attack, and the company advised all their customers to change their factory passwords to two-factor authentication, and if they notice any suspicious behavior, to contact Nest directly. Number 8. The Masked Man. Finding a masked man at your front door in the middle of the night can be pretty scary, but when that man returns to your home 3 times in 1 week, it's downright frightening, blogger for Ring explains. They said this because that's exactly what happened to a family in Milford, Connecticut. After just a couple days into their vacation, where they were more than 100 miles away from their home, Ring alerted them that a masked man was at their front door. Though he couldn't break in, he returned a few days later. Now, despite the family sending the videos to police and local news stations, the man returned again. This time, however, he was arrested, and thank God, but with someone that persistent, I feel like you have to give them some props. Number 7. Covering up a crime. In the early hours of August 13th, 2018, American oil field operator Chris Watts ended the life of his wife and 2 daughters. He buried his wife in a shallow grave near an oil storage facility and dumped his daughters' bodies into crude oil tanks. Now, Chris initially maintained his innocence in his family's disappearance, but was arrested on August 15th after confessing to ending the life of his wife in an interview with detectives. He also later admitted to ending the lives of his daughters too. Now, on November 6, 2018, he pleaded guilty to multiple counts of first-degree homicide as part of a plea deal with the death penalty and was sentenced to 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole, 3 to be served consecutively. Now, during the investigation, a neighbor showed Chris and a police their CCTV footage, hoping they could see what happened to his wife and daughters. They watched the footage and you can see Chris back his car into his driveway, and he can be seen loading a gas can into the bed of his truck. Next, the video shows Chris backing the vehicle into his home's garage. Now, investigators believe Chris used that very truck to transport the bodies of his family's to a remote oil worksite where they were found days later. Prosecutors believe that Chris, after backing the truck into the garage, likely placed the 3 bodies in the bed before driving them to the oil work site. Now, it's terrifying that no one knew this happened and that it was all practically recorded. Number 6. Fresno night crawlers. I can't even think of an explanation for this, so be prepared to be puzzled. In 2007, Fresno homeowner Jose managed to capture footage of what looks like a pair of pants walking on their own. Like, no one is wearing them, just jeans strolling along his driveway. His dogs barked at these puzzling creatures as they passed by his home, as they should, but Jose only saw them after reviewing the footage. These beings baffled him as well as the investigators of the sci-fi docuseries Fact or Fake Paranormal Files, who deem the suspicious attacks unconfirmable. While there are doubters who believe that it's all a hoax, others think they are of alien origin. There has been speculation online that they're figures from Native American lore, but with little to support it, it seems like we'll never really know what was taking a midnight stroll that night. Number 5. Chicago Creeper. Have you ever felt like someone was watching you? Jack McKencher and his girlfriend Jordan Baranxis didn't, so I'm glad they had security cameras installed. The couple ended up being terrified after going through the footage to settle an argument about a missing purse. Now, they did find out where Jordan's purse had gone, but they found out something way worse. A man later named the Chicago Creeper or the Bucktown Burglar watched them as they watched TV and later went to sleep. He then slowly made his way around the house without waking them up or their dogs and managed to leave with Jordan's purse in hand. Now I can't imagine knowing someone was in your house while you were asleep. Thankfully, only stealing the purse was the only thing the man did because it could have been way worse, so remember to always lock your doors. Number 4. The Lurking Man. On July 31st, 2022, Jojo Ramirez was coming home with her son when a man followed them home. They enter the house and she could be heard telling him to take a shower and she locks the door. Right when she shuts the door, you can see a man appear following behind them and trying to get into the house. Then she looks at the window to see the man standing there. He tries opening the door and looking through the window, and it's just unsettling because he doesn't blink at all during the entire video. She then realizes the man is there and yells at him to get out of here. He then backs up and you can see more of his body, and his hands are behind his back as it appears that he's trying to hide something, perhaps a weapon. She then contacted the police and they took care of it. She posted the video from her Ring camera online and captioned the post, "This happened to me on 8/31, be careful of your surroundings. Luckily I locked the door before he attempted to open the door." Number 3. Dobby. Late one night in 2019, Colorado resident Vivian Gomez posted a video of a strange sight her home security camera captured. Internet users were quickly to point out that the creature has a passing resemblance to everyone's favorite house elf, Dobby from the Harry Potter films, but it still didn't explain what it was. Now the leading theory is that the figure is Vivian's young son dancing with underwear on his head, and one outlet even enlisted him to recreate the footage and try to put the theory to bed. Her son though denies that it was him, so what was this creature? Personally, I don't think it's him because if you look at the footage, the creature is lanky and its knees bend funny. I don't think it's a human, and I fear we'll never know what this creature is. Number 2. Calculated attack. 2 thugs dressed in masks, hoodies, and gloves were caught on CCTV footage carrying a baseball bat and creeping up to a home on the New South Wales Central Coast at 4 a.m. on January 22nd, 2020. The 2 offenders scoped the property and approached the house from a concealed back door only accessible by rock steps through the thick bushland at the back of the house. Now the thieves woke a female resident in the house who walked down the hallway to turn on the outside lights to deter them. Instead, the 2 felons hid behind the house and waited for her to leave back to her bedroom before sneaking around to the back door. One of the burglars watched through the doorway while the other took a baseball bat and started smashing the glass door, causing the female homeowner to scream in horror. The man hit the glass 9 times, breaking a small hole in the door and reaching his hand inside before both men fled the house. The female resident said that she was scared that the men were targeting her as she had been alone in the house for the previous 2 weeks while her partner was working out of town. Trent Southwell, director of private investigation from Team Safeguard, said the attack was carefully planned. It's not random, being the time in the morning, the way they've turned up, the way they've covered their faces with hoodies, the baseball bat, the backpack. There's a lot more intent there than just a random attack at a house that's already got cameras as well. Now that is just truly terrifying. And coming in at number 1, are you sure? Now this footage scares me to my core. It shows a man approaching a house and repeatedly knocking on the door while repeating, "I just have a couple questions for you, are you sure?" This goes on for a couple minutes before a man responds over the Ring doorbell. At this point, the footage turns all the more unsettling as the man at the door says he wants to take advantage and end the life of the woman inside the house. The footage was shared by Amanda Nowak of Las Vegas, and according to Amanda, she was inside the house during the entire encounter. The man never saw her and was never actually speaking directly to her during these tense 3 minutes, and thankfully the man has been arrested, but that doesn't make the footage any less unnerving.